guys. Welcome back.
Ring ring.
You don't know it, but it's been a while for us.
Long time. Two women catching up.
Yeah, we were just dabbing beforehand because, guys, American girl, Romanian girl, I am still on my incredibly long international trip. And so we realized that we didn't record just enough episodes, even though I thought we did. So we are coming to you live from 7:15 at night in Bucharest, Romania.
We said, you know what? Something to take the edge off, recording international. The pod goes
Yeah.
international. American girls would want us to do it.
What if I read Kit's Surprise on a train from from Transylvania to Bucharest?
It's what Kit would have wanted. Did it remind you of the power of stories and friendship?
It did. It reminded me of the good old-fashioned American way and what I've been missing so much, you know?
It
It's
made you
been
go,
a
damn, I need to get home. What's going
I was
on?
like, "I gotta get back to my American girls.
What happened to
W
Where are they? I miss
Where are
them.
they?" Yeah, and, I think we're at least planning to do an update after this, but if my internet craps out, we won't, so I'll just mention it now. Guys, a new American Girl doll lore dropped. Samantha has a great-great-granddaughter who is Girl of the Year. That's fun.
Yay. She's a DJ.
Have you seen the, Dear America clip? I'm not the Dear America, the Good Morning America clip of them, like, announcing that, and the guy being like, "She's a DJ, we" like, they do it to a bunch of little girls, and, like, they, like, reveal it, and he's reading all the stuff about her, and he's like, "She's a DJ, we all like to DJ, right?" All little girls are like, "Yeah." It's like, "Is
No,
this a
I'm
thing
gonna
that
need to
kids are
look
like"
that up later.
they're all like,
That's
"Yeah,
so
we like to
funny.
DJ."
I think it's cool that, like, they've been doing I feel like they really did their big one because I feel like they've been phoning it in with the girl of the year. I guess
Yeah.
dedicated doll girls who listen, I
Mhm.
guess,
Which isn't our
let us
forte,
know.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not really us, but, I feel like they really everything I have seen, mostly from the thing that you sent me and then reading, like, the comments, like, people seem, like, actually excited about her. That, like,
Yes.
they actually like, beyond just that she's, like, a legacy doll,
Yeah.
I feel like people are, like, genuinely geeked that she's, like, interesting and, like, looks
Yeah,
different and is, like, more unique than, like, the last couple girls.
and has, like, a distinct story, I think, is what is kinda drawing people, but we hopefully already talked about it, so we won't get too into it, and if we didn't, then, like, yell at us and we'll talk about, like, 6 weeks after it happens.
Then don't quote us.
Yeah, don't quote us on
We
this.
won't listen.
We never do, but guys, crit kids sorry, it's like I'm so tired. Kid surprise!
Oh my god, a kid surprise? Is it Christmas time?
It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time in the middle of October. Happy Hollow Christmas.
Merry Halloween.
Halloween, I kinda like that. Um, but guys, yeah, so we're doing Kit Surprise today, and this is, actually was I think so far we were just talking about it, our favorite so far of the Kit books. It kind of had,
Yes.
Addie Surprise vibes a little bit with the, like, gamifying making money for your parents.
Yeah, it is crazy how much labor the children of American Girl doll end up doing.
I
I
know.
understand that this was a reality, but it is crazy to read.
There's so much small math.
Yeah, I go, "Huh, huh, okay, we're collecting nickels and dimes here. We're really scrounging it together."
I know. I did find out that as a spoiler alert, the modern day equivalent of their, electric bill, spoilers, is, $55. So,
Oh my
that
god, I
isn't
wish.
yeah, but that isn't not a lot of that isn't like a small sum for a child, a
No,
nine-year-old to come
to
up with,
scrounge together from odd errands, I'm
especially, like,
even
a
more
few weeks before
dazzled.
Christmas, so good for Kit, you know?
Good for
But no,
Kit.
I really liked this one. I thought again, we could do a whole, deep dive on our feelings on Valerie trip, I think, but I thought it was very smart of her to use Christmas as a contrast between, like, Ruthie and Kit's situations, and I really did like it because I can understand like, you can understand 100% where Kit's coming from in this, and you can also understand Ruthie because she doesn't have to deal with this, and I thought their fight was very real, you know, because like, I liked how the fight happened, and I thought that the fight felt, like, there is no right side to it kind of, or at least there's innocence on both sides of how it played out, um, and I thought, like, the resolution was, like, very sweet too, so
Yeah, I agree. I think I liked that the book was more I mean, she's away doing other things the whole time, but the heart of it is, like, how can I get back to being friends with Ruthie after, like, a point of conflict, and I thought it was very sweet, and I like it because, like, Ruthie feels like the most real of the friends so far, maybe other than, like, Sarah, Addie's friend.
yeah.
Uh, maybe other
She has
than
her most
her.
distinct personality, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, like, you feel like they're actually friends, including I won't spoil anything about the end, but in, like, the end of the last chapter too, especially
Mhm,
that,
yeah.
like, they love each other for who they are, not for, like they're like it's like an innocent little girl friendship. It's very cute, so I agree with you.
Well, it's also just like, it's like that oldest friend you have, where it's like you just kinda said, you don't have all the same interest,
Mhm.
and, you may disagree, you may think something that, like, you do is silly or she does is silly, but you love it's like it's like that friend that's almost like your sister, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, like, a lot of us have that. A lot of us have that friend who we're like, "I don't get her, but, like, I love her."
You're just kinda like, "Oh, like, her quirks are, like, what make her somebody, like, I love."
Yeah, and I kinda wanted to, before we get into it too, talk a little bit about, like, I'm having trouble figuring it out, but I do think, like, the reason that Kit was my favorite as a kid is there's something, like, distinct about her personality, like, there's and I think, like, Valerie did a very good job of kinda making her, like, the not like other girls without it
Mhm.
being, like, I'm a tomboy in your face kind of, you know? I think
Yes.
it's like I said, I think I related to Kit a lot when I was a little kid because I wasn't super girly, but I also wasn't, like, in the mud, like, I wasn't, like, good at sports or, like, super tough, I just wasn't into, like, the, like, typical, like, flouncy dresses and, like, pretty, like, princess stuff that
Yeah.
much. It was like, I don't know, I think I felt like Kit was more neutral on, like, her interests, where she was interested in everything a little bit and then, like, had some hyperfixations, and so I don't know, I just think, like, I think she has kind of there's something about her personality that I've always found, like, intriguing. Like, I think the way she, like, talks to herself and the way she talks to people is, like, kind of frank and kinda funny, and, like, it's a little bit of the tropes of, like I said, not like other girls and, like, wise beyond your years felt being, like, tired, you know?
I literally was gonna say, I think you just hit the nail on the head for how I feel. She feels very adult because she's having to grow up really fast, and so I do feel like also, I think she's, like, the kind of girl out of all the girls we've read so far that she's the most, like, girl who doesn't fit neatly in the box of, like, her specific time of girlhood, and it's not that, like, the other girls don't maybe have, like, fringe interests or, like, grow out of it, but I feel like Kit, kinda to your point, is like well, I don't quite fit in with, like, the popular girls, but, like, I go to dance class and I like these things, but I like writing and I wanna be, like, creative and I will work hard and do these things for my family. So it's like, it is that blend of, like, adulthood, like, because she has to unfortunately show up for her family like a little adult,
And
or
boy,
she
does
wants
she.
to, and boy
Yeah.
does she. But, like, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just cute that and I like that she's not just like a tomboy. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like it would have been reductive if she was just sort of like, "I'm one of the boys." Like, I like but because she loves, like, her girl, like
Yeah.
Ruthie, like,
Yeah.
so much, like, that it breaks her heart most of this book that, like,
No,
they're
and I think
fighting.
yeah, I think that's kinda the thing that I like about it is that she is a little bit tomboyish, but it's not like she's, like, hanging out with the boys and things like that. Her best friend is a very
Yeah.
girly girl, and I think that kind of is I guess what it is when you were saying that, I was thinking as I guess I like that, like, Kit is, like, kind of quietly confident, you know?
Yes, 100%.
Like, she's very comfortable in her own interest, and, like, if she's not interested in, like, the super girly thing and that doesn't endear her to the other girls, she doesn't really care that much, you know? Like,
Yes.
she's like, "I'll do it when I want to, or I'll do what I want to," and I think I just always really liked that as a kid.
Yeah, I think she's a good one for the little girls.
So should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Alright. Chapter 1, Rick Rack. So it's Christmas time in Cincinnati, yuck, and Kit and Ruthie are going to Kit and Ruthie are going to the movies, and it's part of their, like, yearly tradition around the holidays to, like, go see movies, but there's a plot twist this year, and Kit is poor, and
Yep.
so she's wearing an old dress, and, it has a rickrack on it, which is apparently what you call when you have to sew an extra line of fabric around the edge with, like, the little fun things. I didn't
I
know that.
didn't know that. Yeah. I was like,
It's so
"Wow,
cool.
I'm I love when I learn something."
Yeah. That's so clever too, actually. I didn't think about that, like, if you need just, like, an extra if someone's growing tall like, if someone's growing taller but not necessarily, like, wider, and you just
Yeah.
need extra fabric, like, why not just do that? Um, Kinda
We're
slay,
not mending
honestly.
the way we used to.
No, we're not, we're really not. We gotta get back to rickracks.
We gotta bring rickracking back.
But, Kit doesn't like to rickrack, and so she is hiding her, like, fist in her jacket, like, down, trying to hide her rickrack because it shows that she's poor. And Ruthie's like, "You can walk behind me and no one will notice, and then when we're in the theater, it'll be so dark, no one will care." And she's like, "So right, Ruthie. Thanks, girl."
Also, it's cute because Ruthie is like I think it's cute because Kit's embarrassed about it, and, like, again, Ruthie's
Mhm.
just a real homegirl because she's just like, "Well, I think it's kinda cute, like, you don't have to worry about it."
Ruthie's Miss Positivity constantly.
I love her. She really won me over. I already liked
Yeah,
her, but, like, this book
yeah.
especially, I have a
No,
soft heart for her.
she's very, like, she's a very good friend to have, I think, like
Yeah.
the optimist friend. So,
Mhm.
they're going to the movies, and Ruthie has bought their ticket and, is offering to share popcorn with Kit, but Kit only takes a few pieces because she feels embarrassed because she used to well, like, I thought this was funny because she's like, "I used to be able to pay for my own ticket." I'm like, "No, your parents used to be able to pay for your own ticket."
Yeah, it
Like
is sometimes funny when you catch, like, the way that they talk, and you're like, "Well, that's not quite true."
yeah. But Ruthie's family's doing fine, so Ruthie's offering to pay, which obviously implies that Ruthie asked her mom for money for her and Kit to go to the movies.
Yes.
Um, and it's kind of the beginning of these feelings that Kit is, like, stacking up that, like, Ruthie doesn't really understand what she's going through, and Ruthie
Mhm.
kind of obliviously is like, "It doesn't matter to me, so, like, why don't I fix the problem?" But we don't have time for that right now because a little vignette plays before the movie, and it's a Miss Amelia Earhart, which I had kind of forgotten they hadn't mentioned yet is, like, Kit's idol, because this was, like, the biggest thing for me, because being a true, tofu child, I was like, "Amelia Earhart is my idol too."
She's a good one, however, with a you know what's funny? This is just a side note, I was thinking about it when I was reading it. Amelia Earhart is such a cool, like, woman icon, her story is so great. It is so crazy that, like, she's so, like, well revered and, like, the end of her life is such a mystery.
I know. Did you
It's
ever
kind of
see
crazy
did you ever see the Expedition Unknown where they go looking for her body?
where they imply that the coconut crabs might have eaten her.
Yeah, but then they also accidentally find, like, 2 other bodies underneath a house.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oops," and then there's these bones that the Fijian government, like, keeps,
Yeah. It's
like
like they have to, like, bring, like, cadaver dogs in and it's, like, becomes, like, a, like, murder investigation.
I do think that is the craziest thing. Anyway, just a side note. Tune in
Yeah,
for our
guys, watch
bonus
Expedition
episode
Unknown. But no, I do agree, it is crazy that she, like, what do you think happened to her? I mean, obviously she died, but, like, how?
I think the most realistic one is that probably, she had a malfunction with her plane. I think she might have crash landed on, like, a remote island and probably just died.
Died. Yeah,
Like,
of, like,
starved to
natural
death.
yeah,
I think
exposure.
so. I think it's the simplest answer is probably the most likely
Yeah.
because some of the other ones I mean, I love, like, a dramatic
Yeah.
conspiracy on a mystery, but
Yeah.
I think that what do you think?
I agree. I did see somewhere some, like, compelling evidence that there was I forget what it was, but it was something about, like, a tribe that, like, reportedly had like, someone reported seeing, like, a white woman in the tribe or something. Or it was something along the lines of that there was, like, a slight chance that maybe she did crash land onto an island and, maybe she became a part of, like, this local tribe, which is, like, a little far-fetched, but, like, it could have happened.
It's not totally out of the realm
It's
of possibility, right?
yeah. And I mean, honestly, she could have, like, in that time and it was, like in that time especially, I think it could have happened that she may have just disappeared into, like, a society around there because it was right before World War II, and so, like, any sort of, everything except for the war got, like, thrown out pretty soon after the 1930s, you know,
Yeah.
so there is a chance she just like somehow survived. I do think it's most likely that she probably died. I don't know if they found her plane or not. That's the thing.
There's been pieces of wreckage that have been recovered over the years, but I'm pretty sure the thing that they need is, like, something with a serial number on it, and I'm pretty sure they've never found anything with that.
Well, and she was with someone else too, right? She had like a co-pilot, that guy.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is equally strange.
And no one wonders what happened to him, which is kind of sad for
No.
him. Hashtag not all myth.
Kit's like, that man wasn't there."
Yeah. And oh boy, when Kit finds out what happens,
It's over for Kit.
it's over for Kit. But yes, Kit was watching this like vignette for the movie, like dazzled by Amelia Earhart. And I do think Amelia Earhart is like every semi-independent little girl's like idol. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
she's doing the thing like in an era. But then the actual movie starts and Kit is immediately like something incredibly boring came on my screen and I immediately clocked out of all the experience. Um, and then they leave the theater after the movie and Ruthie's like, "Oh, she was amazing, wasn't she?" And Kit's like, "Yeah, I can't believe that a woman is flying planes." And she's like, "No, silly, I meant Dottie Drew." And Kit's like, "Dottie who?"
Yeah. Huh? Who's that?
And then like it was apparently the whole movie was about some stage and screen dancer named Dottie Drew, who Ruthie thinks moves like a princess and is perfect. And they kind of like playfully rib each other about like their interests, like how Ruthie loves princesses and Kit loves like tomboy things.
Yeah.
But it gets cut short by them walking by someone's full house out on the lawn. And they're like, oh my God, an eviction. No, not at Christmas.
Scary.
Oops,
No,
ah. And
the
then
bank's not allowed to do that.
and then they get in this like kind of crazy conversation where Ruthie is slightly wrong. But again, it's because Ruthie hasn't been forced to grow up yet. But
Correct.
kids like see that, bet your imagination can't help family evictions. And Ruthie's like, they should have imagined a better way to make money.
Yeah, it's a little crazy because it comes back later, but Ruthie is like, "Oh, you can just, like, imagine your pain away. Like, isn't that fun? You can just, like,
Yeah, just
daydream
close your
things."
eyes and just
Mhm.
pretend it's not
Close your
happening.
and Kit's like, "Huh, I didn't think of that before."
But so they kind of go back and forth about it, about how like the eviction seems scary, and they move on and they walk the rest of the way home. And they have this kind of we have this kind of weird aside where they talk about how they're making gifts with the nurses who live in the boarding house for their dads, and they're unspooling old sweaters and turning them into scarves. Um, and they're getting the nurse gossip basically. And one of the I forget what the nurse's name, so sorry, but one of the nurses has a boyfriend in Boston who writes her really long letters, and he's coming to visit for the holidays, which is gonna be a weird room situation, I think, for the other nurse. Uh,
Yeah. Yes.
and then Ruthie and Kit wanna set the other nurse up with Mr. Peck, who I thought from the last book was like a man in his 60s.
I also thought he was old.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Like,
glad we were on
with
the same page about that.
I guess he's, like, around their age because 'cause they're like, "It'd be cute if we, like, got them together." Um, it's still weird that Charlie's sharing a room with him, but
Yeah, correct. Regardless.
but But the nurses aren't home, so instead they go upstairs and they're like, "Let's, like, write a newspaper about our day." And so they start talking about what they love about the princesses and Amelia Earhart, and Kit's typewriter is, like, completely bunk at this point, and she's typing something and a key falls out, and she's like, "Oh, no, it's ruined. We can't do this anymore. We have to go find dad. Dad has nothing else to do today."
Yeah, dad's jobless and a loser.
Yeah, dad's always here.
That's
He's not even
always he
looking for jobs anymore.
Dad just kinda, like, hangs out and vibes.
Yeah, and you know what? That second room he said he was gonna build, not built yet. And
Crazy.
that's turning out to be a real problem because in the living room, Ruthie's dad, Sloan Stone what's his name? Sloan Smithens?
I
Stan
don't remember.
Smithens.
It's Dan. Yep.
Stan. Ruthie's dad, Stan Smithens, is talking to Kit's parents about how they're behind on, like, mortgage payments and they're gonna be thrown out of their house. And I'm smiling because it's insane that he chose to do this when his daughter was over at Kit's house.
I thought the same thing. I was like, "That is also an interesting layer to their friendship that,
Yeah.
like, her dad,
Her dad.
because he works in the bank, like, is talking to Kit's low-key deadbeat dad and being like, we're gonna fucking take your house away.
Well, 'cause her dad has to know Kit's her best friend and that Ruthie's always over there, and it seems like this is the type of meeting that you should have in the bank.
Yes. So you can talk about plans or be like, "Here's how we can help you," or like, "You need to make this up, and
Or
here's
just, like,
how."
maybe my child isn't and your child isn't listening at the door, because guess
Yeah,
what?
maybe
They
our
are.
daughters aren't here. Yeah, in our tiny house where a bunch of people live and our kids
And
have
also
free
the
reign,
door is ajar.
it's crazy. It's like it's pretty insane.
So Kit finds out that they might be evicted, and she's like, "Ruthie, this is just what we worried about, like, this is the worst." And she runs upstairs and leaves Ruthie alone downstairs.
It's crazy.
It is
Also, one
crazy.
other thing about the exchange,
Yeah.
when Ruthie's dad is like, "I can give you until after the holidays, but you need to, like, find a way to get money." And Kit's mom starts to be like, "Oh, well, I," and then the dad, again, jobless, is like, "Yeah, thanks, Stan, we'll figure it out." Who's figuring it out?
Kit's
Certainly
mother.
not Yuki. Certainly
Yeah.
not Yuki. She's, like, literally, like, faltering, and Kit's dad is like, "Yeah, brother, put her there." Like,
Mother, Charlie, and Kit are gonna figure it out, and Dad's just gonna be like, "Golly-o, you guys did it." He
it's
sucks.
crazy. Also, I will say this is something I was thinking about the other week. I was wrong about a divorce plotline. That's Julie's parents. Julie's parents
Okay.
get divorced over the course of her books, so I was just confusing my
Nice.
blonde little girls.
That's
But
cool.
I still think even though it wasn't in vogue at this time,
They
Mama
should.
Kit should have divorced him.
He's not doing anything for anyone.
No, it's kinda humiliating. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
So, chapter 2, the bright red dress. So, after Kit and Mom do chore for dinner, Kit's mom goes over to what Kit assumes is Uncle Hendrik's house because she looks, like, sullen, and then when she returns, she looks even more sullen, and so mother is tucking Kit into bed, and Kit's like, "You went to go ask Uncle Hendrik for money, and he didn't give it to you, and we might get evicted, right? I overheard everything." And her mom's like
I'm locked in.
she's like, "Yeah, kid, sorry, gotta deal with this." I was like,
She's like,
"Oh."
"Enough."
She's like, you know, it's tough for you as a small child at Christmas to know that we might not be in this house in a month, but you're tough, and I appreciate that about you."
"You're tough. I made you this way."
And then, and then Kit's like, "What will happen if we're evicted?" And Mother says, "We might have to move in with Uncle Hendrik." And Kit's like, "Oh god, that sounds so, so bad. I don't wanna do this." And that would mean the boarders would have to leave the house too. And Kit's mom's like, "Well, the boarders might have to leave anyway because we can't pay the electric bill." Yikes. And I'm like, "Can we hold the phone for a second and ask, like, what the fuck these boarders are paying for?"
I agree. I
Like,
agree.
they have sorry, but they used to have a one-income household and pay for this whole house, and now they have people doubled up in rooms paying rent, and they can't
Yeah.
afford to pay the mortgage or the electricity bill. Like, what the fuck are these people? Are they not charging these people enough? Like,
I okay, I agree. I'm like, either they're not charging the boarders enough, or the thing that, like, is driving me a little crazy is I have a conspiracy that the dad is siphoning off money. I guarantee you that that's not what's happening here, and I don't think it's gonna happen on page ever in the course of the books, but I was like, I agreed with you. I felt a little shocked that this is the plot because I was like, "This doesn't make sense to me." Because how
yeah.
did we go from last book where, like, they're gonna build the extra room, although the extra room's, like, not done, so, like, there
Which
is
is
that.
okay because 'cause it's been a month, so I get that, yeah.
Right, so, like, it's still in process, maybe they still need, like, extra money for more materials, whatever, who knows? But I am kind of like, somebody has to be doing something wrong with the money. I'm sorry. Something has to be wrong because and what? Her brother's working.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
Kit
it.
does errands here and there, and then
Yeah.
she does more throughout the course of this book. The dad's not doing anything. The mom has a job. So it is kind of
Mhm.
like it's not like the house is getting more expensive.
Yeah. I guess Sterling's mom is helping clean in lieu of rent, if we forget that. But still, they still have 3 people paying for room and board.
Yeah,
I don't know, I just think they should I understand the mortgage being an issue, but the electric bill being an issue was the one where I was kinda like, "Wait a second."
that feels like
Like,
priority 1 to me. It should
well, that
be
feels
electric to keep the people to not lose the
Yeah.
money to keep the house.
Well, I feel like it's time to be like, "Hey, look, guys, like, this is expensive running this. This is what we need for food every month. This is what we need for electricity every month. Like, this is,
Yeah,
like, what you need.
easy.
This is how much you pay for the room every month." Like, it's, like, that's standard rent. That's what I
Yeah,
pay in
like,
rent.
hello? Right.
So, that just feels bonkers, and then Kit is like, "How can I help, mother? Me, a child." And her mom's like mother is like, "Maybe you could go and hang out with Uncle Hendrik because he's a little sick, and you could do it every day for 8 hours." And Kit's like, "Oh, I don't wanna do that, but mother, I will. Mama, I will. Mama, I wanna help."
Mama, I have a sense of duty. Mama, you gave it
Yeah.
to me.
And then mother's like, "Good, good girl. Here's a nickel that he gave me to take the train tomorrow. Good luck." So Kit begins her journey as, like, a little housemaid.
It's really also, I don't know if how you felt about this. I'm sure that the uncle hates the husband, but I
Yeah.
was
Oh,
low
yeah.
key like, if the uncle needs all this shit being done, why isn't the dad doing it? That was
Yeah.
my one, like, bitchy feeling about this book was I was like,
Dad doesn't do anything.
he literally doesn't do anything, and, like, at this point, there is enough, like to me, there's enough people who have money who need errands and stuff done that, like, you could scrape together pocket change. It's like a side hustle. It sounds
Yeah.
goofy, but, like
Well, it's like we said with Charlie doing the paper route and dad not doing a paper route. Like, it just feels like
mhm.
dad's not getting, like, the job he wants, so he's not working.
Right, at all. He's like, "Well, that's beneath me, so no.
Yeah.
My
Is it
family will go cold tonight.
for my pride, my children will starve to death.
My children, freezing."
So Kit goes, and she's like a little silly girl, so she misses the train, so she like sprints across the entire city of Cincinnati, it seems. And she like gets to Uncle Hendrik's house, and he's like, in a cantankerous mood. He's awful. He's like comic villain awful. Like he's like, "Ah,
Yeah.
stupid yucky kid, I don't want you here." And then she's like, "I'm
Gross.
staying. I have to stay." He goes, "Bah, if you're gonna stay, then come on in. Let's close the door." And he's like, "Bah, I need help with all this stuff because I'm sick. Help me with my dog." And he has like the worst dog in the world with like the cutest name.
Yeah, yeah. The dog I
Inky.
like the dog's vibe.
Yeah, I felt like Inky wasn't that bad, honestly.
I
Kit
feel like
doesn't seem like a dog
Inky
person.
no, Kid doesn't seem like a dog person, but Inky does get, like, a low-key redemption arc, I felt like, at the end
Yeah,
of
when
the
he's like,
book.
"Tuk, tuk, tuk, tuk."
Yeah, and cuddles with her in bed.
Yeah, and I also like a little like Scotty dog. They're kind of fun. They have
I
the mustaches.
Scotty dogs are pretty cute.
Yeah, they've got like a little beard in their dog.
They're so refined.
They're one of those dogs that's always a boy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I've never
Yeah.
met a girl Scotty, and I don't care to.
So she's like doing all these chores around the house, and it's kind of a little like montage of her like whole like she gets like tea in the saucer and he complains. She like like folds the blanket weird, and she's basically just like doing this grown man is making is like bullying this 9-year-old around his house. And at the end of the day, she's like so tired and he gives her another nickel and she's like, "Wait a second. If I run home every single day, then I can save nickels and I can pay the electric bill, which is like $2 and like 53 cents." So she runs home and is more bone tired. And she's Addie Walker style trudging up the doorstep defeated. And
I walk
then
to school uphill both ways energy.
just like Charlie Brown, like doo doo doo, just sad.
Depression slump.
Yeah, and Ruthie, who hasn't worked a day in her life, is sitting on her doorstep with a little box, and it's like, "Hey, girl,
"Hey,
what have you been up to today?"
you look rough."
She's like, "Well, here's something that'll shine your face. Voila, it's my old dress."
It is a little tough. It is
And
so
so
well-intentioned.
I know,
It's
it's
so
so little kid
tough.
intention, you know? It's like so Ruthie has asked her mom to help her, like, hem her old dress to give to Kit, and, in the box of the dress, there is an invite for Kit and her mom from Ruthie and her mom to a nice brunch and ballet on the 26th, which is their tradition, which Kit told her previously she didn't think they could do this year because they would have to work and they don't have the money.
Yeah.
And so, basically, Ruthie was like, "I'm gonna do our tradition anyway, so I'm gonna ask my mom to pay for things, and I'm gonna give you a dress because you need a new dress." And this just, like, triggers Kit's, like, humiliation. Um,
Yeah.
and Kit gets very upset with Ruthie. One thing I did think was funny is that she, like, slightly fat shamed Ruthie here, where she was like, "Even your old dress won't fit me, it'll be too big."
Yeah, yeah, I was like, "Oh."
I was like, "Okay, Pitsy."
I was although low key also, I was like, is this, like, also kinda like a fucked up thing too? Because like, Kit doesn't get to eat as much food at home, so, like, Ruthie is, like,
A little plumper,
plump and happy because she
well
gets to
fed.
eat 3 full
Yeah,
meals and is well fed, and the kid is, like, on a depression diet.
it probably is,
I
but,
was like, "This is so sad."
no, I mean, the depression diet, my grandma, I remember, she would make I would come over and she would make me, like, snacks, and she grew up in the depression, and she would make
Yeah,
me, like, saltines with butter on top of them.
and you're like, "Yum, delicious."
Like, one day I was, like, sitting
Bro, a
in her,
saltine
like
with peanut butter, though?
that's different and it's good, and honestly,
It is
saltine with butter
different.
wasn't bad.
No, I was gonna say, honestly, low key, a saltine with some sort of spreadable kinda hits. We were onto
Yeah.
something.
But yeah, I was sitting in her living room watching Wheel of Fortune, and she's like, "Do you want a little snack?" And I was like, "Sure." And she came with a plate of buttered saltines and a ginger ale, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, is my stomach
oh,
dead?"
the ginger ale is critical.
Yeah. I mean, it was I ate it all. I was like in seconds.
Yeah.
No, actually, a saltine with, like, a white cheddar on it is somehow,
Oh,
like,
oh my
an
god,
elite snack.
delicious. Oh, I might go buy saltines and white cheddar when we're done here.
It'll be my first meal back in America.
You'll say, "You guys get me to HEB, get me to the saltine aisle,
Get
and
me to
pick
that
me out a
salty
sharp white cheddar."
the type of cheddar that tingles the jowls, you know?
Exactly so.
But Kit and Ruthie are not laughing, and,
No, they sure are.
Kit is like and I understand. I this is where I thought it was interesting because I think the dress thing is, like, a little bit more insulting than the ticket thing,
Yes.
but I understand, especially with the added dynamic of Ruthie's family, Ruthie's dad being the one who basically says, "We're gonna kick your family out," that, like, Kit now knows that, and it feels, like, icky, I think, to her a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, I do think, like, Ruthie's intention is very sweet, and I actually did tear up a little bit when Ruthie was saying, like, "This is my favorite thing to do in the holidays, like, what I look forward to every year is, like, our day together and doing this thing," and it's like, that's what I kinda mean with, like, the little, like, almost, like, sister relationship. It's like, this is their tradition, and I think, like, there's a part for Ruthie where she feels like and I kinda see it too, and I understand Kit's going through a tough thing, but Ruthie keeps offering suggestions and Kit keeps, like, saying, "No, no, no," like, "That won't work."
Yes.
And so I think Ruthie's feeling frustrated because, like and I understand where Kit's coming from, 'cause this isn't tough, and this isn't fun, and this is a bad situation, especially when you're 9 and you used to have, like, not have to worry about this stuff.
Yep.
But there did feel like a part when Ruthie is offering her, like, ideas and Kit just keeps saying no. That and, like, I think we've all been there with a friend when your friend is just, like, down in the dumps and you're like, "Well, I
Yeah.
can't help you if you're just gonna say no to everything I suggest," you know? Like, it's
Correct.
like,
Yeah.
"Cool, then be miserable, like, enjoy
Right.
yourself," like but at the same time, like, Kit, I think, is, like, completely understandable. Like, this is
Yeah.
her family's gonna get evicted, like, she doesn't wanna think about this stuff, and she feels jealous that, like, Ruthie doesn't have to and that Ruthie's gonna have a normal Christmas with presents and, like, Ruthie's biggest present to her dad is, like, the scarf, not the electric bill, you know?
Yeah, I almost feel like it would have been better. Obviously, I know we need to teach children a lesson, so it was written in this way on purpose. But I almost feel like if it was real life, it would have been better for Ruthie's mom to give Kit's mom the gift and been like, this is
Mhm.
just a surprise for Kit on the 26th. Like, can you take off
Yeah.
work? And like, Kit doesn't need to know that like we paid for it or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess
that
to
would've
me,
made
like,
more sense.
yeah, again, I understand that like this is a children's book and we are going for dramatics, but I was kind of like, ooh, this is tough. Also, without having the moms there to moderate the vibe either, I think is why it sort of escalated to the level that it did with them, like, yelling at each other because it is like Kit has kind of like a flash pan, like, personality. Yeah, like, when she's, like, upset, it is like, "Up!" Like, even hearing about the eviction, right? She just runs off, and then, like, she's like, "Okay, now I need to ruminate." Even with this, she's like, "Here's my gut reaction. Goodbye, I have to ruminate now." So I think, like It is tough, and, like, you are little kids because they can't you can't still totally tell your friends, even at that age, like, how you're really feeling. Like, I think even though she understands why she feels sad about losing her house and all those things, I think little kids still don't know totally how to put it into words and be like, "I'm not upset that you, like, are giving me a nice gift. I'm upset because, like, of all of these other things." And
Yeah.
instead it comes out as, like, "You're being mean, you think I'm
Or you're being
poor,
stupid and immature that, like,
you're
you
being
think this is what's
stupid."
important, you know, like,
Yeah. "I'd
'cause
rather
it
have
is
my
like
house than this ticket."
well, it's like that thing I think too that you come across as you get older too, where, like and I'll tread carefully saying this, but, like, everyone has their own experience, and you can only kinda live in your experience of, like, what's the best thing that's ever happened to you and what's the worst thing that's ever
Yeah.
happened to you, and I think you can relate to, like, what has happened to other people, and you can, like,
Yes.
understand that, like, if I have a friend who like, let's say I had a friend this isn't true, but let's say I had a friend who when I was a little kid whose, like, mother died or something, right?
Mhm.
I can understand that that is very sad, and I would be very sad if I grew up without my mom, but I will never actually understand what that feels like. And so then, like,
Yeah.
let's say my childhood dog dies, that's the saddest thing that's happened to me as a kid, and my friend whose mom died might be like, "Try having your mom die," you know, like,
Correct.
or it might
100%.
feel like that. And that's a valid feeling to have, but it's also, like, negating the fact that, like, I in my world of experience, this is the saddest thing that's happened, you know? And I think
Yes.
that's something you learn as an adult a little bit, and I think you still have to remind yourself as an adult that, like, you can't compare happiness or tragedy, and you can't compare, like, living situations in a way,
Yeah.
like, you can empathize, and I think you have to be, like, understanding of things, but Ruthie's never gonna understand unless her family is in a similar situation exactly how Kit feels, and she is gonna, like and Kit's not gonna understand, which comes up in a little bit, which we can kind of move into, like,
Yeah.
that Ruthie feels, like, lonely and, like, a little bit, like, abandoned now that Kit has, like, all these responsibilities, but also this kind of seemingly cool new living situation, you know?
Right. She doesn't
Like
conceptualize that it's maybe not ideal. She looks at it as, like, what fun adventures you get to kinda have every
yeah,
day, and I don't get that. Like, I just have my stable home with my
yeah, it's
dad and
like
his bank job.
his bank job where he's sending everyone out on the streets. But they kind of trade words, and Kit kind of goes for a low blow and is like, "You and your dumb princess." It's like, "You live in such a
Yeah.
make-believe world." And Ruthie's like, "My dumb princess, you're dumb flight pilot, and I bet she's gonna get lost at sea and that you'll never hear from her again."
I hope something crazy tragic happens to her, and you'll never have an answer while you're alive for what happened.
"And your children's children will never know, and they'll debate it on a podcast."
I'm cursing your lineage to have such a deep connection to a woman who goes missing forever.
"And we will never be friends again," which is a very classic, kid breakup. So, they,
Yeah.
like, break up their friendship, Kit storms upstairs, and she cries because she's sad. Um
Yeah, valid.
And then chapter 3, The Wicked Ogre. Um, so Kit cries for a little bit, but she can't cry for long because it's chore time.
That's right.
Um, so she goes downstairs and is, like, trying to help mom, and it's like and mom's like, "Oh, was Uncle Hendrix that bad?" She goes, "It was tough." She goes, "Well, that's not what you're crying about, is it?" And Kit tells mother immediately, which I did like, because she and mother have
Yeah.
a tough relationship sometimes, but I think mother is her comfort, you know?
Mother is there to hear her out. Mother is there to
Yeah.
be a mom when she's not working 82 hours a week.
When she's not dusting everything in the house.
Mhm.
Also side note, where is Sterling's mom helping?
Look, a couple things are adding up. Kind of a mistrip classic,
Yeah,
writing conundrum where I feel like she was like, "I have an idea for this what I want the next book to be." It's not gonna be tied directly to the book that happened directly before
to
it.
anything else that happened. Valerie strikes again.
She goes, "Huh, who wrote that? Not me. Oh, wait."
I wrote that in a fugue stage, he says.
Yeah, she's like, "I don't remember that."
'Cause his mom's not in this book at all, even though she's on the little page.
No, it's yeah, even Sterling is only like
I felt like Sterling was in this book, but I felt like it was like I felt like it was just his voice. Like, he
It
didn't
was a
even
weird
materialize as, like, a human being.
he well, it's like he's never in the house around, like, when anything is happening.
Yeah.
I guess because like, when they started fighting, I thought, like, maybe I mean, he does try to help her out, but, like, I thought maybe they were gonna, like, have a combo in the house or something, but they never
Mhm.
do.
No,
He's
it's
not an emotional support
not
boy.
not this time. He's too sick. He's been his mom's poisoned
He's
him too much around
too sick.
Christmas.
Yeah, he's too ill.
He's got too much antifreeze in his body right now.
His heart's slowing down as we speak. Anyway,
But so Kit spills to mom everything that's going on. And mom basically says what Celia and I just talked about. And then she also points out like kind of the part that like Ruthie comes over here and you guys do the things with like the nurses. And I think the nurses are in their 20s. So I think that is cool for like 2 9-year-olds to meet two fabulous like single ladies,
oh,
like doing their
yeah.
thing with boyfriends. Like, so I think it's like Kit has like her older brother, Kit has like almost these like older sisters now. Kit's house is always full of people. And like Ruthie goes home and it's just like her. And so they kind of talk about how like Kit's jealous of Ruthie, but Ruthie might be jealous of Kit, which Kit, like, doesn't really understand, but again, that
Yeah.
kinda goes into what we talked about, and mother's like, "Hey, well, why don't you just try and, like, iron it out tomorrow at in class? I'm sure everything will be fine." But it's not. Ruthie is, stalwart in her anger right now, and Ruthie, like, freezes Kit out all day. She, like, will ignore Kit when Kit tries to come to her, and she, like, hides in the group of the dancing girls, and Kit used to be in dance class, but she hated it, and
Not
she had to quit because she didn't have
anymore.
enough money.
Yep. She's broke now.
So they have, like, 3 days of, like, class, and she keeps trying to, and actually Sterling does something very cute, and he tries to help Kit by drawing a picture of, Ruthie and Kit as Amelia Earhart and Dottie Drew, which I'm
I
like, "Okay, it's
know.
liking, like, look at you,
I
like,
know. I was like, "Okay, artist." I mean, we already
yeah,
knew this, but I'm like, "Okay, child prodigy." I think he's
yeah."
gonna be like a comic artist
I
after the
hope so.
Depression.
He's gonna he's gonna make up scathing takes on fascism.
He's he's gonna create Marvel Studios.
And his name was Stanley.
His name was Stan Lee, actually. Sterling Stan Lee.
That's what it stands for. But,
Exactly.
it doesn't work, and Kit doesn't wanna give Ruthie the drawing because she thinks it's really nice, and she's worried Ruthie will just, like, throw it out before seeing it. Because Ruthie threw out a note that Kit wrote her, which is sad. As
Yeah.
as a, like, classic, "I'm gonna write a note to someone I wronged" person, I'd be so bummed/pissed. I was like, "I really wrote something really nice there. You're not gonna even read it."
I think it is I was like, "This is actually so perfectly, like, little girl being mean out of, like, hurt feelings core," because I was like,
Yeah.
"Actually, that is the meanest thing she could have done." It's the ignoring is one thing, somebody writing you a letter and you not waiting until you're private, like, literally tossing it up. Bro, Ruthie's playing 5D chess, okay?
One word, savage.
Oh my god, I know, I low-key, like, if I had a daughter and she came back from school and told me she tried to apologize to her friend, and her friend threw the letter out, I'd be like, "I guess I have to go fight a child.
Guess I'm calling the girl's mom.
I'm gonna go beat this little girl up for being
I
mean to my
know.
daughter like that."
But that's all to say, if people write you letters, guys, read them and at least acknowledge them. As like I said, a chronic letter writer. Every time I have a problem, I write a letter.
Yes. Yes. Or don't give it to them. Be like, "You know what? I feel like they're not gonna read this. I'm gonna write out my feelings and then file it away in my journal."
Exactly. And so Christmas break starts and Kit has not resolved her issues with Ruthie, but she doesn't really have time to worry about that because she is chore city. Like it's the 12 days of Christmas but chores.
She's gotta pay that bill off,
Yeah.
okay?
And yeah, so she's like collecting coins, and then one day Uncle Hendrik asked her to go get his shoes shined. And the shoe shine is out of business, and it has like an insane sign in front of it that's like out of business until the depression's out of business. Like so I kind of feel like they just were like, peace. Like,
Yeah, I did think it was funny because I feel like wouldn't he, like, have known? I guess maybe he has, like, errand boys do stuff for him, but I was kind of like, feels like that he might have known the shoe shine was closed sooner. but
Yeah, and so Kit is like, "Shit, I had to get this done," so she runs to her house and, like, aggressively shoe shines the shoes, and then she runs back to Uncle Hendrix, and he's like, "Finally, someone did it right," and she's like, "I did it. Here's your money back," and he's like, "Well, if you did it, then, like, you're paid for it, so keep the
yeah,
dime."
here's your money.
So Kit's like, "You know what?" She's like, "Uncle Hendrik, I wanna do every chore for you. I wanna do all the chores you pay someone else, I'll do them." And he's like I thought he said no at first, but then he was like, "Sure." He speaks in,
Yeah,
like, riddles.
he kinda, like, waffles on things. It's like he has a sense of, like, responsibility, but it's, like, his own fucked up one. He's like,
Yeah.
"Well, yeah, you did the job, child, so keep the money. Don't make
Mhm.
me keep this money.
And he's like,
I
"It's
don't
not."
accept free labor."
Yeah, he's not like, "I don't care who's doing it, just get it done."
Yeah.
And I also forgot to mention this whole time he's, like, ragging on Kit's dad and mom and being like, "Like, irresponsible parents," and I tend to kind of agree with him, honestly.
Yes.
He's like,
Yes.
"They bought that giant house, they couldn't afford the mortgage." I'm like, "If yeah, doesn't seem like they could." Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, even, like, depression aside, it feels like we were already maybe living at the max of our means in a
if
way
you
that feels insane.
well, we mustn't forget that father took out his, retirement savings to pay his employees,
Yeah, we certainly mustn't forget that.
which is one of those things that's noble in theory, but stupid in practice, you know?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
'Cause now as a no, oh, it's too I'll get too
It's
angry,
you
um, because then my next point is kid is out here hustling and earning money, so, these kids are out here earning money, but dad can't.
I trust me, it's crazy. My sympathy for dad in the gutter, in the drain, down the
Yeah.
drain, rather.
But she's, like, still she's doing all these chores, she's, like, slowly accruing enough money for perhaps the bill, and, but she's still missing Ruthie, and it talks about how every day Uncle Hendrik takes a nap and Kit has some downtime, and so she started writing a story, and it wasn't, like, a news story, it's a fictional story, so she started writing a story about her and Ruthie as, like, in itself, like, a story Ruthie likes, kind of inspired by the picture that she kept that Sterling drew them, so she's writing a princess fantasy story kind of apologizing to Ruthie. So she does that.
It's really cute.
Yeah, and the picture of her is, like, cute. She's like a little kid just sitting in a little big leather
Baby's
chair.
first fan fiction.
Yeah, and she's just all curled up in a chair, like, writing a story for her friend, or, like, hopefully for her friend. And that brings us to chapter 4, Jules, and I initially wrote, "I have no idea why this is the name." Um,
Yeah, I kinda like, unless it's supposed to be about, like, the jewels of her heart. I mean, it never spells it out like that, but
no, it says in the end, I have it 'cause it came to it, but I wanted to say that I basically want to say this is a bad name for this chapter.
it is a bad name for the chapter.
So it's Christmas Eve now, and Kit is running her final errands at Uncle Hendrik. She's delivering boring library books. And it's starting to sleet outside, and Kit's excited because she thinks the sleet will turn into snow and she'll have a white Christmas. But the sleet is getting really bad, and there's like an extended take of her taking the dog out. The dog does not want to go out, and she's like, "You're a horrendous creature. I hate you so much. Like,
It's
get it
really
together."
funny. I love little kid X animal beef. Like,
Yeah.
little kid beef with animals is never not funny to me.
Photosita versus Josefina, Inky versus
Yeah,
Kit.
it hits every time.
It spans generations. So, she's talking about how Charlie got a tree from work, and they're planning on decorating it tonight, and she's excited because she has, enough money, and she is going to give it to her parents so that they can also light the tree instead of just decorating it.
Mhm.
Um But she should be careful what she wishes for about the sleep, because she tries to leave the house and she eats shit like 90 times.
This part was very funny. She's getting her shit there's art of her, like, gripping onto, like, a wrought iron fence, and it's just her hand, and, it did give me a good hearty chuckle.
She's getting her shit rocked on the street. She's like army crawling down the street. I thought she was going to lose all the money.
I also was like, "Something's going wrong," or I thought she was gonna get hurt and then, like, need to go to, like, the hospital or something and bankrupt her family for Christmas.
That'd be so
I don't know,
sad.
sometimes these books take crazy turns.
Yeah, that's true. But instead she just kind of like she like lands on her tailbone and it's like she like, lands flat on her back, she like sees stars, she tries to stand up, she lands on her face. She's like bruised and banged. She like crawls back to Uncle Hendrix and she's like, "Can I wait here for a little bit until the like sleet stops because I can't get home?" And he's like, "You're not getting home tonight, kid. You're staying here."
It's over for you, actually.
And he's like, "You have to call your house and let your parents know." And she's like, "We had to turn off our phone." He's like, "Of course you did, you low life losers." Like, bah. Like, call someone then who still is rich enough to have a phone. And the only person Kit knows with a phone is Ruthie. So
Uh-oh.
she's hoping Ruthie's mom picks up, and Ruthie picks up. And Kit's like, "Okay, Ruthie, I can't come home without Uncle Hendrix. I have to tell my mom. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I miss you so much. Goodbye." And then Ruthie's like,
Please.
because the connection's bad. And so
The
Kit doesn't know
storm
what.
is over party.
Yeah. So then Uncle Hendrik shows Kit to her room for the night, which is described in like a weird amount of detail.
Yeah, it's miserable for her. She's like, "This is the darkest, scariest place I've ever been in my whole life."
It's like damp and mustard yellow and like gross. And Kit's like, "Will this be my room when we were evicted?"
And she's like, also, it's, like, cold as, like, a tomb. She's like, "I'm gonna freeze to death here in this like, yellow, ugly doom hole,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is
all
not.
over."
And I made a note, it is not like the infamous beds that Celia and I slept in at Christmas time.
I still dream of them, Caroline. I
I
still
still
dream
dream of
of
those
them.
night.
Take me back. Take me not well, take me back to those beds. Take
Just
us
that,
back to
like,
those beds. Just that
just us
nook.
and just wrapped
We
up
just
in like
scam one of
blankets.
our other friends into getting married there.
And
Whoa,
specifically
Caroline and
request
I have a
our.
great place.
We just give us the room all directly off the reception.
Yeah, we'll be there. You guys can stay in the main house. We have no business to attend to there.
We just we just want to be
Honestly, call
wrapped
off
up
the
in a
wedding if you
cocoon.
want.
Just
We just kinda
keep the
like, just
reservation.
leave us to our devices. Also, make sure there's no central heat on in the building
Yeah,
when we stay there.
just outside a giant blanket.
Make sure it's pouring rain outside, freezing cold, and,
Concrete floor.
concrete floors. Mhm, mhm. The
Most comfortable
bathroom
bed you've ever been in, though.
but the most delicious down comforter and pillow set, like a little fox in a hole. Mm,
But not for Kit.
I dream of days like those.
She's got one of those blankets that's inexplicably cold no matter how heavy it is,
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Her
And
little
it's like,
body is actively losing warmth.
she's like curled up, like trying not to touch it. She's like, "I need socks because I don't want to touch this."
Yeah, she's like, "This is evil somehow."
And she's feeling very sad, and she hears a little at the door, and Inky wants to curl up next to her, which she takes a little bit of comfort in. So maybe she and
It is
Inky will be
cute.
friends one day. Yeah. So dogs like to cuddle. They're just snuggle.
Dogs do like to cuddle. Keep a little
Yeah.
warmth.
So Kit goes to sleep sad, but she wakes up and she hears jingle bells, and she's like, "Am I tripping out? What the
Santa
what the
is
hell?"
real.
Yeah, Santa? No, Ruthie. Ruthie and her bank teller dad are outside ringing jingle bells like, "Hey, we're
Yeah,
here to take you
with
home."
their luxury car too. I was like, way to really rub it in Kit's face that you guys are wealthy.
I know, and they're like, "We're here to take you to your current home."
Yeah, for now, like you
For
said, for
now.
now,
And
at least through
so
Christmas.
yeah, and so kids decide to see Ruthie, and Ruthie and her apologize to each other, and they make up, and they get Kit, Uncle Hendrik, and Inky in the car, and they all drive back to Kit's house, and everyone is like runs outside to give Kit a hug, and I was wondering if Mom felt bad that she like kind of caused this situation for Kit on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it is kind of a bummer. I feel
It
like
just kind of
Mom's
sucks
like,
that she had
"Well."
to go over there on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the books could have waited. Was the library even open on Christmas Eve?
I know, I feel like the answer is no.
Yeah.
Or, like, I feel like it would've been, like, half day hours, so it would've been, like, morning, so she would've been, like, fine,
It just feels
whatever.
unnecessary.
Our logical minds versus a children's book.
Versus Valerie
0 to
Tripp.
1. Yeah, versus Valerie Tripp's Magic Worlds.
Yeah. So, they do all the gifts, and it's, like, a very nice like, it's just a very cute Christmas kinda montage of, Charlie got Kit paper for her typewriter, and Dad fixed her typewriter, which lame gift,
He had time to do that.
'cause, yeah, he wasn't doing anything else. But, But, Kit and Mom are baking, and Mom says something which tees Kid up, where mom's like, "Oh, the tree's so nice, I just wish we could light it," and Kid's like, "Ta-da! Money.
Surprise.
You're welcome, adult. I'm paying the electric bill."
Although, if they're paying the electric bill, how quickly do you actually think it would take them to get their power back? That was my only thing. I was like, it feels like the gift is like a little too late in this specific instance because you're not paying the electric bill on Christmas Day.
Well,
Just
don't
one
think about it too hard. It
cynical
was a
woman. Yeah,
gift.
just one cynical woman's thought.
Yeah, it's fine. Mom is overjoyed so they can light the Christmas tree, it looks beautiful, and then Ruthie's family comes back over, and, once again, I feel like this dynamic is just, like, so
It's a
awkward.
little weird. It's a little
Yeah.
dark-sided.
And, Kit gives Ruthie her storybook, and is like, "I wrote this for you," and it's very sweet. She's like, "I couldn't buy you anything this year, so it's a handmade gift." Oh, and I forgot, um, Ruthie, invites Kit to go window shopping, and Kit says she'll wear the dress, so there's, like, a little compromise. So Kit's gonna wear, Ruthie's, like, dress that she gave her, and then they're gonna go window shopping instead of something expensive, and they gave, the tickets to the ballet to the nurses, the boyfriend, and Mr. Peck because 'cause they're trying to still set them up.
Mhm. Ooh
Um,
la la.
age undisclosed, Mr. Peck.
Yeah.
So,
Age, question mark, question mark.
yeah. And so then, so yeah, Kit gives Ruthie her little book, and then Ruthie gives Kit a present that Ruthie and her mom made Kit. Kit opens it, and it's a little sewn Amelia Earhart doll, which I had.
Really? That's
Yeah,
so
I didn't have the
cute.
Christmas set, but I had the Amelia Earhart art doll, so I don't know if you could buy
If
that
they sold it
separately.
different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it
No,
was
I
cute,
thought
I
that was
loved
so
it.
cute. I
Yeah.
I was gagged that she's one of our first girls to get a doll that, like, is a person that's not her, or, like, not like a
Yeah.
look-alike, or not kind of like a maid doll, like like, it
Yeah.
is a maid doll, but I thought it was cute that she was, like, the first girl that we've gotten where it's, like, more akin to, like, where you or I would have, like, Barbies of, like, a
Mhm.
character or, like,
Yeah.
something. That I thought it was cute that it's, like, you love Amelia Earhart, so me and my mom made you, like, an Amelia Earhart doll.
Which I also to that point too, I really like that because, like, as we kind of joke, like, especially in Christmas book, you have to get a doll and a dress,
Yep.
and Kit is not a doll girl, so I thought this was a really smart way to give Kit a doll.
I thought the same thing because I feel like it would have felt a little disingenuous if it had been, like, a doll that looked like just like her. It
Or just
wouldn't have
any
felt
doll.
accurate. Yeah, like, if it was just like,
I
"Oh,
like
we
that
can
she
play
didn't ask for a
princesses."
doll. Yeah, like, I like she didn't ask for a doll, she did like, there was no mention in this book of her wanting a doll, but the doll she got was, like, a doll for her, you know?
Yes, it was very charming.
Yeah, I'll see if I go home, it might be in a toy box somewhere if I have the Amelia Earhart still, because it was, like,
Oh
this
my god.
big, it looks just like the one in the picture.
Yeah.
Um, it was cool, I really liked it, I, like, played with it, like I think I kept it, like, in my room, just as much as the Kit doll, so
Yeah,
I thought it
I
was
love that.
cool. And so then Kit is, like, walking outside for a little bit, and this is where the jewels come in because she notices her Christmas tree in the window and thinks it looks like nice, pretty jewels, that's it, though. Uh,
It's just kind of crazy.
yeah.
It's like you said, it's not a good title.
And what's even crazier is Kit's inner monologue here, where she's like, Kit didn't even know if they'd be in this house next month, or what would come, or if the family would be on the street. But boy, was Christmas fun.
Yay! Huh?
The end.
Sure, Kit, whatever. Girl.
So that was literally the end. It ends with Kit's like ominous idea that like she might be kicked out in a month or two. But that at least they had a nice Christmas.
Yay! At the end of the day, that's all that matters to a little American girl.
Exactly. Take it month by
A
month.
good holiday.
Take it season by season. Take it springtime story by fall story. All right. Peek into the past. Depressing Christmases. But honestly, considering how depressing the depression peek into the past have been, this one wasn't too bad. They had some nice stories, I thought, about people doing nice things for each other, like how people would get trees, and like they had a little story about a girl who asked for her school's Christmas tree, and was like carrying it home herself, but on the way home saw a family that was poorer than her and gave it to them instead. And they kind of talk about how people worked really hard to still celebrate Christmas in little ways. And one of the things parents would do, which kind of is what Kit's parents do, is they would hide old toys or old things in the weeks leading up to Christmas and like refurbish them, like, repaint them or, like, clean them up or, like, fix toys a little bit so that you could still have a new-ish present for the holidays. So it kinda goes into that. And it talks about, mall Santas, which is kinda fun because that's something we
I
know.
know. I like that part.
But that, mall Santas were having a tough time because kids were asking mall Santas for jobs for their dads, which would just, like, bum me out,
It
you know?
yeah, it'd be crushing to have a child be like, "Oh, could my papa have a job, please?" And you're like,
Especially when
"Oh,
you don't have a job either.
no." Yeah, yeah, the second the Christmas season is over, you're SOL. You're back
Yeah.
on this grind.
But it was fun to know, like, that mall Santas were a thing in the 1930s, you know?
Oh, 100%. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like this was the beginning of, like, even looking at the images that are in this Peek into the Past, like, it just kinda sort of reminded me when you get those TikToks that are like, "This is what Christmas used to feel like as a kid," and it's, like, nostalgia edits with, like, grainy
Yeah.
photos. It honestly made me feel like even though we were in the depression at the time, it feels like, "Oh, this is kind of like the beginning of that feeling of nostalgia that I feel like people have, of, like,
It
cozy
is,
kind of
yeah.
family and, like, decorating things even, like, with just whatever you have." It feels like a nostalgic Christmas even though it was, like, different because people were struggling.
Well, some of that probably has to do with the fact that's kind of when movies started coming out, and, like, Christmas movies, like, old-time Christmas movies are such a thing, like, I think it's a little bit more in the 1940s, um, but, like, you see so many, like, 1940s era Christmas movies, and you have that kinda cozy Christmas aesthetic with, like, the sound of the, like, "Oh, you're the you know what I mean?
Yeah, but also kinda to your point with, like, the movies though too, so many of those, like, very classic Christmas movies are about ultimately, like, doing something bigger and outside of yourself or, like, miracles or, like, good things happening to people who are struggling,
Yeah.
around Christmas and, like, I mean, obviously, A Christmas Carol is much older than that, but even, like, stories like that where it is like, oh, you learn, like, a lesson and there's a moral and everybody's happy at the
Mhm.
end.
What's
So,
your favorite Christmas movie? Like, old Christmas movie, maybe?
my favorite Christmas movie. I don't know that I have one, like an old favorite
Mm.
one. I always watch Barbie and the Nutcracker, but
That's
that's
exactly what I'm talking about.
it's not an oldie. I feel like this is something, like, I've been wanting to do for a while. I feel like I've not seen a lot of, like, the classic kind of old holiday films.
Oh, we can watch them this year.
Like, I've never seen, like, what, A Miracle on
34th Street. Have
34th Street? I've never seen that.
you seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I've never seen It's a Wonderful
Oh,
Life.
we should wa that's my favorite one. We watch that every year. I lo that one makes me cry every year.
It seems like it's an emotional film.
It's good. It's also oh, we'll do a Christmas
We'll get to it.
conversation, but it's good. I think you would like it.
Okay.
No, but it is kinda like, and then my dad and I like Christmas in Connecticut, which is really, really bad, but really, really, like, funny
Okay.
in, like,
Yes, I
a
think you've
way.
sent pictures before when you and your dad sit down to watch it.
Oh, yeah, we love watching it and making the same jokes every single year.
Yeah, that's the thrill of Christmas is,
And
you're
everyone
like,
loves a
"Damn,
good
these hit
Hallmark
every
movie.
time." I was gonna say, I love to watch, like, a shitty Hallmark romance. I don't know, I just love, like, the aesthetic of a Christmas movie.
Me too. But, yeah, I think that's kinda why we feel like you like, "Oh, I know what this Christmas feels like," because it's a little bit around that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it kind of the end of the Peak in the Past talks kind of about how some kids didn't have to struggle, and, like, there was, like, a very normal area of, like, the country where, like, typical Christmas happening, and some kids were getting presents and stuff like that from the magazines and from the toy shops, so it was a nice and short Peek into the Past.
That's right.
Alright, final thoughts. So, I felt this Kit story had the most, like, emotional pull so far of a Kit book, and I felt like it was, like, the strongest story, especially after it learns a lesson, which was, like, kinda bonkers. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I like that they kinda use, like, the Christmas traditions and the changing situations as a good way to contrast Kit and Ruthie for what they were going through and that they weren't in the same financial situation anymore, and I think it's a really good way to make kids understand that, you know, like but then, yeah, I think, like, concepts like mortgage and eviction are, like, kinda crazy for kids to, like, try and grasp, especially I guess a lot of kids may have read this around the 2008 financial crisis, which would have been helpful, but
Interesting in its own way.
I think it's, like, showing the differences in Christmases is a good kind of a smart way to show the difference in, like, Kit and Ruthie's situations.
Yeah,
And I'm kinda glad we didn't get an Uncle Hendrik redemption arc, 'cause I thought we might with, like, kind of like a
I
Scrooge
know.
story, and he stays sour, and I appreciate that.
I like it because it feels like you're setting him up like that he's gonna be I know you've maybe read the other Kit books, but I've not touched any of
Or
them
s I
yet.
forget, honestly.
Okay, so I feel like it was setting him up to be around more, especially, like, depending on what's gonna happen with their house and whatnot, and I agree,
Mhm.
I like that, but I like that he has, like, his own, like again, he feels like his own full person because he is like, "Well, you did the job, I'm gonna pay you." Like, he's curmudgeonly and he's the kind of a dick, but, like, he does definitely have his own, like, moral code that he holds himself to, and so I did like that
Yeah,
part of him, yeah.
I agree. And then I said, Kit's dress is cute, so to mention the dress, but it doesn't hold a candle to Josefina's. It's just a cute little girl dress, you know?
No. Josefina's is really an all-timer.
Yeah, it's so good. And then I said, I kinda what I said earlier, I may be biased, but this is my favorite doll reveal. Like, I thought it was cleverly done. I thought, it made sense for Kit. I loved the doll itself when I had it. And it just kind of it was a seamless, like, good gift to give Kit, so
Oh, yeah. I think it was a good book. I
Mhm,
liked it. I feel like I've said most of my thoughts. I think Ruthie and Kit are maybe my favorite duo so far, just because they like we've said, they feel very real, they feel very charming, and I like that even though their parents have a weird dynamic going on
mhm.
with the money, that it's even though they got over it here. I mean, maybe they'll fight more as they get older, but, like, I like that for now, it's sort of like, "Okay, well, we'll leave the weirdness to our parents, and we can just be friends. We'll just be little girls who are best friends, who love each other for who we are," and
Mhm.
I thought it was very charming. Love a Christmas book.
Guys, so share this with your friend who has a different interest than you.
Share this with your uncle who makes you do errands for dimes.
Share this with your dad who still doesn't have a job.
Share this with your brother who's living with an age indeterminate man in his room.
Share this with a nurse you hope gets together with an age indeterminate man in your house.
Share this with your friend you would take to the ballet every Christmas.
And you know what, guys? Just share this with someone who you love. And if you love them and you love us or admire what we're doing here at American Girl Talk, all the way from Romania, then like, subscribe, comment, show this to people, put on your stories. That's like a cute way you can like repay us is like
Write
get
us a letter.
yeah, write us a letter and we won't throw it out.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
read it on air. Where to
yeah,
send it? Hard to say.
just send it in the comments.
Yeah, send it in a comment and we'll go, "Oh my god, thank you."
We'll figure it out. Or TM us on American Girl Talk on Instagram. But yeah, just to spread the love. We are growing. We have like 500 subscribers on YouTube, which
It's so
is
exciting.
cuckoo bananas. It's been almost a little less than a year, and our goal is to get to 500 by a year. So thank you guys. Like truly,
Thank
that's
you.
really cool. And the crazy thing we realized, which is cool, which we'll reveal to you guys, is we're gonna finish like the OG girls, and our last yap about all of them will be on, like, the last episode of the year. So, by the end of 2025, we'll have gotten through everyone, including Kaya,
Every girl.
and then
We'll have met every girl.
we'll be on to the girls who you've read Julie, but neither of us have read. So, that's
I've
kinda
never
cool.
met any of those women.
I don't know those women, but I'm
I don't know those
excited for some
women.
of them, and I'm less excited for some.
That's the spirit.
But we'll catch you guys next time, and until then, goodbye.
Bye.